I can smell the failure.
Okay, so I have used Wriothesley for a while now, and I just want to say that he does have his issues. There's definite issues in his character, right? Without using C1, this is without my C1, so we're going to talk about his issue. But first thing I want to get away with, or get off the table, right? He's good, right? He's great, but he's reliant on a healer. You just can't use them without a healer at C0, because otherwise you are going to run into the problem of this going out. This is a actual percentage boost, right? This is 63%. This isn't like, oh, 63% damage bonus. Yeah, sure. He has already, 46 from his goblet. But this is actually a 63% boost, right? This is way better than any damage bonus he could have gotten, right? Even if it was like 200% damage bonus, I'm pretty sure it still would have been worse. So you basically can't use him without a healer. Now, is that bad? Honestly, no. It actually isn't. Also, we'll talk about that later. It actually isn't, honestly. However, do you want to? Yes, because his talent, his passive talent here, only gives you 5,000 damage. It's not that big. And this is on this team. I had every single buff active on both of those runs, or on that single run where we had the, charge and then we took away and then stuff. But it's the same. That's the damage that we got. It literally only gave us 5,000 damage on this team. Could be better, possibly, if I level up his talents. At C0, this just doesn't seem worth going for at all. Like, he just doesn't. This buff doesn't. This is damage bonus. Yeah, so that's what damage bonus does, right? This is what we get from damage bonus. We get 50% and it gives us 5,000 damage.
You're ugly, you're disgusting, I'm gonna kill you, give me $200.
Yeah, so you can see clearly not that good. Also, this was without any stacks of this, to be, fully transparent. No stacks of this. I did the charge attacks immediately, and that's how it went. So 5,000 damage, not impressive basically at all. I would say not good, not worth, even using. So if you just have a healer, you've basically circumvented the entire purpose of this, because other than the 5,000 damage, what is this doing? It's healing you. And that's the only reason you would use this. You could say that that's a bad thing, but honestly, no, not really. Because what are you running for melt teams? If you're not running Bennett, then I don't know who you are.
I am the danger.
But if you are running Bennett, you have a healer. That's good enough. And you can just run Zhongli and Shangling, and that's your team. That's as good as it gets. Or you could, run a freeze team. And you could end up running Kokomi. And then you could realize that half of his teams just have a healer on them anyways, because the healer on the team is just basically there to apply all that needs to be done.
Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on!
This doesn't really affect him. And what it really affects is the fact that his damage goes maybe down. And that's a maybe, because one normal attack honestly is able to do the same amount as that charge attack, and then you can continue the combo to get more damage. I honestly don't see a point where you're at C0 and you're even able to use this. Like, the team build that you have to run just has to be so underpowered in order to actually use this as a main part of your thing. Like, this team, maybe, if you just put Zhongli here, that would possibly be the only team that wouldn't be sort of hindered from this. But even then, you're not able to freeze at that point. So it's like, you have to run a very weird team in order to not, people want to run Toma, and it's like, Toma doesn't heal you, and he also doesn't shield as well as, a character like Zhongli. And then also, you just run Shangling and Bennett, and then Bennett is the one that heals you. And the fun thing is that with Bennett, you can actually beat his healing. So you can beat Bennett's healing and get this to where you're able to lower your health below 60%, and then you can use your charge attack when you do that. And then you're able to actually, like, Bennett works so well with Wriothesley because you're actually able to do that. Now, something I have to note is that my Bennett has a level 0 goblet, so, you know, that's something, you know, maybe just take off your goblet for your Bennett. It works.
What?
So let's talk about another issue. His interruption resistance, apparently I've heard, I haven't experienced it, but people complained about his interruption resistance and said it was bad. Personally, haven't really experienced it. They were like, oh yeah, sure, it's interruption resistance. Yeah, you know, it just, they were speaking like it didn't actually happen. You know, like Sinnoh's interruption resistance, it didn't really exist, right? People were speaking like that. And that's really what C1 helps with, which, if you can remember another character where the interruption resistance is helped with at their C1, you know, similarities, huh? Funny.
Stupid!
But, you know, overall, it's not directly stated in his constellation, but once you do get C1, you can basically, instead of using a healer, just use a shielder. And I honestly, I want to use Wriothesley, Zhongli, Kazuha, and then someone else, but I don't know who. Using Bennett on that team would be weird. It just wouldn't work out. And also, I'm like a C3 Raiden main, so hyper carry Raiden is half my time that I play this game. I am not like that. That is 2/4 of the team that is just completely negated because I put him on the team with Wriothesley.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
But overall, he's not as bad as people say he is at C1. I think people acting like he's not a character at C1 or until C1, it's just you're lying. Like he's completely fine without C1. You just don't get this. And even like worst case scenario, C1, you don't get 5,000 damage. I'm not joking. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet, but it's 5,000 damage difference that this makes, at least on this team. Possibly there are ways that would improve that. I'm not going to mention them because it's very annoying to keep mentioning them. Did I mention that this is my 5th time recording this video? Yay. So I think people were overreacting about Wriothesley and how he's basically worthless until he's C1. Just not the case. I'm sorry, but it's not. The only thing I can say I'm disappointed about Wriothesley is that his burst just isn't that good. Like, maybe I'm insane, but his burst just doesn't seem that good. It really doesn't. I guess this is 1,000 scaling once you level it up enough, but like, it really doesn't feel like it. It's always like 10,000. I think that people overreacted when they were talking about Wriothesley. You can definitely use them. All you need is a healer, and overall that works completely fine. And a perfect team for him at C0 is Wriothesley, Zhongli, Shangling, Bennett. Very easy to just use that team. So yeah, see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.